Hello, guys.
Hello, Mr.
Hello. Okay, I'm gonna just ask your permission. I'm gonna close the ability to use the mic. If you have anything, you can raise your hands because just if some people start entering. Okay, today actually we're gonna start one of the session that I know that you got scared from it. 21. As we said that there are some mistakes on the writing, but I didn't find any mistake on the reading. But actually, I like the way of the question. I like of the order of the question and how he covered the skills. The only difference that I found between the SET and the EST in the reading, that this test especially is so easy for the reading part. I'm not kidding. So easy. My students that they are taking with me and they know how the way and what are the kind of questions, they are going to discover this right now. The only question that I think it's only individualized for the EST, the question that has not in it. But it's also belong to the author indication. And it's so easy to pick it out and to find the answer with a clear way. So, as we know from our way that when we come to answer a question like that, we have to look first. Okay, we are following a nice, precise way that in the reading passage, we are not going to go and start reading the passage. Then we're going to go to the question. This is one of the faults that most of the students start doing it. Why? We know that we have 10 skills. If you are going to do that, you are going to miss the time and you're going to find yourself that you lose your own way. So because of that, we just read the excerpt. We read the excerpt that it will give you information about the passage. And from that one, you're going to go to the question and start determining this question cover which skill. And according to the skill, you're going to start answering the question. So let's find here. It said here, the following edited passage, take care. So this passage actually is extracted from an original passage. So what happened? That he edit or he add some information. Is an excerpt from the legend of Sleepy Hollow. This actually literature, but it doesn't as use. Sleepy is not a character. Sleepy is a place here. By Washington Irving, introducing the history of Sleepy Hollow. So it's not a character, it's a place. Okay, mister. Let's go to the first question. And as you can see here, the first question is asking about which of the following best describe the narrator. Okay, mister. It doesn't have any indication for lines. Yes, but look, after that, it said the previous question. So this now is evidence-based question. Evidence-based question. And my students, Mustafa, Nada, who is here from my students. Okay, Mustafa, Nada, know how to answer this. We have a cycle to answer this. This cycle consists of 4 steps. Number one, you have to read the question very carefully and highlight the keywords. This number 2. So read the question very carefully, highlight the keywords, then you are gonna go. So number 1, read the question. Number 2, highlight the keywords. So here the keywords, describe and narrator. Number 3, find those keywords here on the evidence. Then after you find them, you're gonna go to number 4 that you have to paraphrase them or you have to find the match for your answer. Sometimes I'm gonna find 2 or 3 answers here that they are correct because we're gonna find that something related to the keywords, no problem. After that, when you start make the match, you're gonna find only one that match down. Okay, mister, may you answer this one? It's clear. So as we said, we need to find, we read the question now. The question said, which of the following best describe the narrator? What are the keywords? Description and the narrator. So something talk about the narrator. Okay, mister. Let's go now to the evidence to find out. Take care. Describe, so we must find adjectives. Describe, so we must find adjectives for the narrator himself. So now let's go to the evidence. I'm gonna read for you the evidence, and we are gonna do it together. He said the first one, or the first evidence, is from 17 to 20. 17 till 20. 15, 16, 17. Okay, from B till authentic. Okay, mister, let's read it together. He said, be that as it may, I here refers to the narrator. I don't vouch. Vouch here means support for the fact, but merely advert means pay attention to it, for the sake of being precise and authentic. Wait, mister. Are those words adjective? Yes. Precise and authentic describe whom? Actually, they describe the sake. And the sake here relate to the narrator, I. So these are adjectives that describe the narrator. Maybe, I'm not sure. You have to complete the rest of the answer to be sure about your answer. But here, one of the choices that can be one of the answer, description for the narrator. For the second one, from 31 to 34, 31 from I till the word valley. Okay, mister, let's read it. I recollect that, the narrator. I recollect that. Means I remember that. When a stripling means young man, my first exploit, so he's talking about his age when he was young. My first exploit means my first act in squirrel shooting was in a grove of tall walnut trees that shades one side of the valley. Yeah, we can see here that the narrator talks about something that happened to him, but there is no adjective here that describe him. No adjective that describe the narrator. So there's not one of the answer. So I'm not gonna highlight it. Let's go to the third evidence from 40 to 45. From F till valley, 45. Again, we find I talking about the narrator. He said, if ever I should wish for a retreat, whether I might means a place that he can make it as private. I might steal from the word and its distraction, just to be away from the troubled word, and dream quietly away the remnant. Remnant means small part of a troubled life. I know of none more promising than this little valley. The adjective here for the valley, not for the narrator. And we can't find other adjective. We can't find other adjective. Here is talking about that you need to find a place that you can take rest. So it's not the answer, mister. The last one from 54 to 56. From drowsy till atmosphere. A drowsy, dreamy influence. Again, we have adjective, but it's not describing the narrator. It describes the influence, the effect, seem to hang over the land and to pervade the very atmosphere. Is not the answer, mister. So now we know that the answer, the only one that's suitable, is B, that as it may. I don't vouch for the fact, but merely advert to it for the sake of being precise and authentic. Precise and authentic is describing himself. Okay, mister, thank you. So now the answer, we know that it's A. We finished step number 3. Step number 4, now let's find which one match it from up. Lost in past memories. He doesn't say that. He said authentic and precise. And accurately detailed storyteller. Just wait. Mister, you said authentic and precise. So authentic and precise means accurate. Authentic and precise means accurate. So accurately detailed, he's describing the author and match what we chose here. So it can be the answer. Let's go to the rest. Don't choose it until you move to the rest. So till now, this can be an answer that match A. A whimsical adventurer. He doesn't talk about that he's an adventurer. Let's read again. He said, be that as it may, I don't vouch for the fact, but merely advert to it for the sake of being precise and authentic. It does speak about adventurer or adventure. It does say that. So it's not this one. Okay, Mr. What the meaning of whimsical? Whimsical means fancy, fanciful. The last one, hesitant to recall the past. He doesn't talk about the past. He doesn't want to remember, or he's hesitant to recall the past. So the answer is B and A. Don't forget, when you come to answer this kind of question, you're going to move on a cycle. Number one, you're going to read the first question very carefully. You highlight the keywords, search for the keywords here or their synonym, then match the keywords to up. Okay, mister. Let's go now to the second question. The second question is a vocabulary question. It's a vocabulary question. He said, as used in line 26, lol most nearly means. So we're going to go to the lines that have lol, and we're going to bring the meaning of the vocab from the context itself. Don't depend on the vocab that is in your mind. First definition for the vocab is wrong. Okay, mister. So we're going to go to line 26. Lol is here. So I'm going to read the sentence that include lol in it. So it's from not. And end with tranquility. If you look here, he said, not far from this village, perhaps about 2 miles, there is a little valley, or rather lap of land among high hills, which is one of the quietest places in the whole world. A small brook glides through it, lake, with just murmur enough to lull one to repose. Who will give you the meaning is the word repose. Also, the lake or the brook that is murmur. Just put yourself in an experience that you are sleeping or you are sitting to a lake, that you can hear the sound of the water. What will happen for you? You're going to be relaxed, right? So if you're going to look here, repose also means relax. Can we complete mister just to find other keywords? Yes. And the occasional whistle, the occasional whistle of a quail. Quail is a kind of birds. Or tapping of a woodpecker, kind of birds, is almost the only sound that ever breaks in. So the whistle of the quail and the tapping of the woodpecker, they are the ones that break in this kind. Take care, you are opening your camera. Bibu Siraj, you're opening your camera. It's the only thing that will break in this kind of silence. So this is the opposite, mister. This is the opposite what's said here. So I think here means something that relaxation, something that no sound, because even repose means that rest. Okay, mister, let's find the key that we're looking for. Again, we got the meaning from the sentence itself, from the context clue. Don't depend on your mind or in your memory. Okay, mister. Dupe means fool. No, mister. Reduce? I don't think so. Convince? No. Calm? Yes, mister. It's talk about calm, rest. And even he said that break in by the voice of the other birds. Yes, it means calm. The question after that, what is the main idea of the third paragraph? This question or this skill, we call it, it's called little picture. That main purpose for a specific part. So what we're going to do now, teacher, you're going to read the third paragraph. And then before reading the third paragraph, you must highlight the keywords here. Like here, the keywords, it must be noun or adjective. So here now, sleepy, hollow, name. The mystical aspect, Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow boys, take care. It includes Sleepy Hollow on all of them. Clear, those, Sleepy Hollow, descendant, Dutch settlers. In this one, you have to take care of something. Whenever in the passage something starts to be repeated again and again, so it's going to be the answer. Let's go to the third paragraph. There's one, there's two, Here the third that I'm going to highlight it right now. Did the third. Okay, mister. Let's find. He said, from the listless repose, rest, listless repose of the place and the peculiar character, strange, of its inhabitants. So he's talking about an island who are descendants of the original Dutch settler. Mister, we read this in the answer. We have read this in the answer, descendant of the original Dutch settlers. But we must find it again and again in the passage to say that this is the answer. Okay, let's complete. This sequestered means separated. Glen means here boys. Has long been known by the name of Sleepy Hollow, and its rustic means rural, lads means boys, are called the Sleepy Hollow boys throughout all the neighboring country. Also, we find this answer, mister, in the choices. Again, if it's repeated again and again, so it's going to be the answer. A drowsy, dreamy influence seemed to hang over the land and to pervade the very atmosphere. So he's talking about the atmosphere of this land. So now what is repeated? That he is describing the land. Some say that the place was bewitched by a high German doctor during the early days of the settlement. Okay, mister, as we said. So he's talking about the land and how the land started to be like that. Other than an old Indian chief, the withered of his tribe, withered means a magician, held his powwow there before the country was discovered by Master Hendrik Hodson. Certain it is, the place still continues under the sway. Let's talk about the place, still talk about the place. Under the sway of some witching power, magical power, that holds a spell over the minds of good people, causing them to walk in a continual reverie. They are given to all kinds of marvelous beliefs. Take care of the adjectives. He's describing the land and its people, are subject to trances and vision, and frequently see strange sights, and hear music and voices in the air. The whole neighborhood abounds with local tales. He's talking about the land, the place, haunted spots, and twilight superstitions. Stars shoot and meteors glare. It's a nice place, oftener across the valley than in any other part of the country. And the nightmare, with her whole ninefold, seemed to make it the favorite scene of her gambols. Mister, we find that he's describing the land. All of the passage here, or all of the paragraph describing the land. Let's go to the choices. To discuss how Sleepy Hollow got its name? No, it doesn't talk about that, how it get its name. It's not in this paragraph. So this is wrong. It outlined the mystical aspect of Sleepy Hollow. Mystical, mister, means the mysterious, the atmosphere and said aspect of Sleepy Hollow, maybe, mister. It's repeated many times. To introduce the Sleepy Hollow boys only in one of the sentences, and it doesn't repeat in the whole paragraph. To make it clear that those in Sleepy Hollow are descendants of Dutch settlers only in one sentence, not in another. So the answer is going to be B. Again, in the main purpose, you have to find the one start to be repeated again and again just to know that this is the answer. Okay, mister. Number 5 and 6, again, it's evidence-based question. We know that how to answer it. The 4 steps. Number 1, you are going to highlight the keywords. Which of the following is true? Take care of the word true. Of the Headless Horseman. So we read the question, we highlight the keywords. Now we need to find what is true about the Headless Horseman here. What is true? Take care of true about Headless Horseman on these sentences. Okay, mister. Let's go first from 80 to 84. So from 80 to 84, he said from there till head. Let's read it. The dominant spirit, however, This dominant spirit that he talked about it here, that he said the nightmare. Okay. However, that haunts this enchanted region and seem to be commander-in-chief of all the powers of the air is the apparition of a figure on horseback without a head. Mister, here he said a horseback without a head, and he wants one of the keywords that it's headless horseman. But is this true? We can't find that this is true. But he mentioned headless horseman. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna keep it. The second evidence from 92 to 96. 92 from his horns till 96 distance. Take care of this trick. Whenever you have a vague pronoun, we know that his for this spirit. But whenever you find it in the sentence, you have to take a sentence before. So let's take this sentence, mister. Where is the sentence before, mister? But take care, it mustn't be included in the evidence. It's not included in the evidence, mister, because it's not highlighted. So I'm gonna read all that part. It's said by some to be the ghost of a Hussein trooper whose head had been carried away by a cannonball in some nameless battle. So he was in a battle during the Revolutionary War, and he was knocked by a cannonball. Do you know the cannon? Cannon, it's a kind of archer or the war weapons. In some nameless battle during the Revolutionary War, take care that he names also the Headless Horseman, and who is ever an anon seen by the country folk hurrying along in the gloom of night as if on the wings of the wind. His haunts are not confined to the valley, so it's not only for the valley, but extend at times to the adjacent roads and especially to the vicinity of a graveyard and at no great distance. So graveyard that is near. Mister, he mentioned the Headless Horseman, but he didn't mention something's true. So also I'm gonna keep it. So now we have two true answers. Pay attention with me, please. The third one from 100, allege till 102. 102 is graveyard. Mister, again, take care of this trick. Here we have, it's not a complete sentence. So you have to take from the beginning of the sentence if it's not including in the previous evidence. No, the previous evidence still here. So I'm gonna take from indeed till the rest of here. Also, mister, it's not a complete sentence because it doesn't cover to the full stop. But take care. What after that the ghost, it's from another sentence or another evidence. So we're gonna stop here. He said, indeed, certain of the most authentic, mister, one of the key words that show that this is true. Authentic, real, so true. Historian of those parts who have been careful in collecting and collating the floating facts. Oh my God, again, facts. It's a clue also, mister, that this is true. Concerning this spectra, allege that the body of the trooper, take care. We get the answer from where? If I just start, as he told me, from allege, I'm not gonna know that this is true. I take the line because I said that you have to take from the beginning till the end. So here it's not including, so I take it with this sentence. Until here, because this, the part that after that, it's included in the other evidence. So authentic facts tell me that it's true. Allege that the body of the trooper having been buried in the graveyard. Okay, mister, thank you. Now what I'm gonna do, mister? No, I think that this is wrong now. This is wrong. I'm gonna just eliminate the other answers, and this is wrong. Okay, mister. So let's return back. So we find the answer here. So this is the suitable answer right now. Why? Because it said authentic facts, and also he mentioned the headless horseman, the body of trooper. Okay, so now I'm in the right answer. See, it's the right one. Okay, the last evidence, you have to look at it from 102 till 106. 106 till hollow. Mister, it's not complete. And then the last evidence completed till the last. He said the ghost rides forth to the scene of battle in nightly quest of his head, and that the rushing speed with which he sometimes passes along the hollow, like a midnight blast, is owing to his being belated, and in a hurry to get back to the graveyard before daybreak. No, mister, it doesn't say anything that's true or as a fact. Did the only one that is suitable. Let's read it again. Indeed, certain of the most authentic historians of those parts who have been careful, so the historians that they wrote about him, careful in collecting and collating the floating facts concerning this spectra, concerning the headless horseman, allege that the body of the trooper having been buried in the graveyard. Having been buried in the graveyard. Okay, mister. Now we need to find the match. The fourth step. So the answer here is that one. Now, mister, which one will match it? He said here, the first one, in number 5, he said, his appreciation is simply a myth. He doesn't speak about that it's a myth or not. His grave can be found in Sleepy Hollow. Okay, he said that his grave is there. He said that alleged the body of the trooper having been buried in the graveyard. Yes, maybe it matches, mister. But again, you have to look at the other. He seeks vengeance against the people of Sleepy Hollow. No, mister, it's not mentioned. The only home the Valley of Sleepy Hollow. No, he only owns the Valley of Sleepy Hollow. So the answer is B and C with an easy way. Now, did the question that most of you start saying that actually it tricked us. This is author indication. And also, it carry a main purpose trap. He said which of the following is not mentioned in the passage. And to know, you must move one by one. You have to move one by one to know which one actually is not mentioned. He said the first settlers in Sleepy Hollow were Dutch. Okay, mister, I think we read this in this paragraph. He said here, from the listless repose of the place and the peculiar character of its inhabitants, who are descendants of the original Dutch settlers. He said original Dutch settlers. He doesn't say first. Take care. Here he said original Dutch settlers, not first. So maybe this is the answer, mister. But we are not sure. Maybe original means first. Let's look at the others. Local tales are plentiful in Sleepy Hollow. Also, I read it, mister, here in that part. I read about the local. Look, the whole neighborhood abounds with local tales, haunted spots, and twilight superstitions. No, mister, he mentioned it here, so it's found. Okay, see, the spirit that haunts Sleepy Hollow most is the Headless Horseman. We read it also. We read it in that part. It's in 80 till 84. He said the dominant spirit, however, that haunt this enchanted region and seem to be commander in chief of all powers of the air is the apparition of a figure on horseback. No, mister, it's mentioned. Okay, the last one. It's assumed that a high German doctor bewitched Sleepy Hollow. Also, we read it, mister. We read it here in line 56. Take care. All of these, you read it actually. 56. Some say that the place was bewitched by a high German doctor during the early days of the settlement. So the only one that is not mentioned, as I told you, here he said original. There he said original, here he said first. So it's not mentioned, mister, that we don't know that original means first or not. So the answer is going to be A. Let's look at the other question right now, number 8. It said, according to the passage, in line 40 to 45, why would the narrator want to retreat into the little valley? Why you want to retreat into the little valley? Okay, mister, what we're going to do right now, you have to read the sentence that include in 40 to 45, just to know the answer. 40, retreat is here. To 45, I think we read it before, mister, yes? If ever I should wish for a retreat, whither means a quiet place, a place that forget my problems. I might steal from the word and its distraction, and dream quietly away the remnant of troubled life, to be away from any trouble. I know of none more promising than this little valley. Which valley? The Sleepy Hollow. Okay, mister. Let's go to the question to find the answer. So why you want to treat into this little valley? Because it is serene and silent? Maybe. Because it's serene and silent. We know that it's not mentioned in this part, but he said it before. Because it's excluded? No, mister. Because he can hunt? No, mister. Because he can dream? Just wait, mister. I think I read dream here in this part. Dream. Yes, mister, it's mentioned here. So I'm gonna cancel the first one and I'm gonna put it for dream because it's mentioned. Done. With an easy way. Now, a vocabulary question. As used in line 87, carried away. What does it mean? Carried away. Okay, mister, let's go to 87 and read the whole thing that has carried away to figure out from the context clue. So, carried away from here till the end of the sentence. Where is the end? Where is the end? The end of the sentence is here. Okay, he said what? It's said by some to be the ghost of Hussein trooper, whose head, the care, had been carried away by cannonball. Cannonball? We know that cannonball shoot fire. So it carried away the head of that man. So now we know the answer. Carried away means it start to be cut. In some nameless battle, this is not important. Now we got the meaning from cannonball and head had been carried away. So his head had been carried away. So if we go there, sustain, no. Won over, no. Removed, yes. His head was cut or was removed by cannonball. Okay, mister. Also, we find it in a little time. Because of that, I told you that this one actually is so easy to find and easier than the SET. The last question in this passage, he said, according to the passage, the narrator mentioned the battle, author indication again, in line 88, as nameless, most likely to suggest that. So let's read the line that in 88, that name the battle and nameless. Where is 88, mister? It's in the same one that had the vocab. So nameless and battle. Let's read the whole thing again. He said, it's said by some of the ghost of Hussein trooper, whose head had been carried away by a cannonball in some nameless battle during the Revolutionary War, and who was ever and anon seen by the country folk, hurrying along in the gloom of night, as if on the wings of the wind. Okay, mister, let's go there. Why he said nameless battle? Why he said nameless battle? Or nameless, yes, nameless battle. There is an eeriness to the battle. No, he doesn't talk about the battle as eerie, as strange. No, mister. So this is wrong. The headless horseman lost his head. Yeah, removed. In a battle so insignificant, maybe mister. Because if it's important, he's going to say the name of it. Its name is unrecalled. Yes, and he mentioned that his name is unrecalled because it's insignificant. Maybe teacher did the answer. The battle is yet to be known. No, it's not known. It's not known. The battle is nameless. Yes, just like the horseman. No, he doesn't say that the horseman is nameless. There is no relationship here. So the answer is going to be B. The answer is going to be B. With an easy way. Okay, so now we finished the first passage, and you can finish in at least less than 13 minutes. As we said that we have 5 passages, you have to divide the 1 hour, 5 minutes over those passages just to solve. You find that this passage is so easy, and we'll find the keywords in an easy way. Anyone has a question? He can raise his hand, and I'm gonna open the mic for him for the first passage. Any question for the first passage? For the skills, for the question, how to answer, especially the one that include not? Okay. Let's go to the second passage. Again, as we mentioned, you have to read the excerpt. The excerpt will give you information about the passage itself. So here he said the following edited passage is taken from the story of geographical discovery by Joseph Jacob on the discovery of Australia. So we are talking about the discovery of Australia. Okay, mister, let's go to the question directly. The first question is number 11. He said, which of the following statement best summarize the passage? Mister, this is the big picture skill that we call it the main purpose of the whole passage. How we can answer it? Nada. How we can answer it? I'm gonna open for you, Nada. How we can answer this question, Nada? Hello, Nada? Nada is here now. Okay, Nada Nabil, how we can answer this question?
Yes, Mister.
How we can answer this question?
Yes. First, I will highlight the keywords in the options, and then
Yes.
read the first paragraph,
And
and the last paragraph.
perfect. Perfect,
To
Nada.
highlight the
Thank you.
keywords.
Excellent. Perfect, Nada. So as Nada mentioned, there's also the main purpose for the whole passage, the big picture. So highlight the keywords in the answer. Then, after highlighting the keywords, you're going to read the first passage and the last passage. What are the keywords here, mister? As you can see, Bidru the keywords. This is a name. The first, Australia. 1, ships separated from him. The second one, Spanish expedition. First, Australia. Island. Dutch. Period of time. Dutch names in their wake. The third one, different Dutch explorers. Coast themselves. The last one, Tasman first explore Australia. So after highlighting the keywords, you're gonna go to the first and the last paragraph. The first paragraph and the last paragraph. Okay, mister? Let's go now for the first and the last. To read it carefully. The first paragraph said what? If one looks at the west coast of Australia, one is struck by the large number of Dutch names. Take care again of the thing that repeat again and again. Dutch names which are jotted down the coast. There is Hook Island, Diamond Bay, Hotmans, Abrolls, Dewitt Land, and the Archipelago of Nits. All of these are names, Dutch names. Besides Dirt Hartwigs Island and Cape Lewin. To the extreme north, far north, we find the Gulf of Carpentaria. All of these are Dutch names. And to the extreme south, to the far south, the island which used to be called Van Diemen Land. It's not altogether to be wondered at the almost to the middle of this century, the land we now call Australia was tolerably well known as New Holland. This is in the past. If the Dutch had struck the more fertile eastern shores of the Australian continent, it might have been called with reason New Holland to the present day. But there is scarcely any long coastline of the word so inhospitable and so little promising as that of Western Australia. And one can easily understand how the Dutch, though they explored it, didn't care to take possession of it. Take care. He repeated many times the Dutch. He repeated many times the Dutch. Okay. The last paragraph, teacher, from here. But still more important discoveries were made in 1642 by an expedition sent out from Batavia under Apple Jensen Tisman to investigate the real extent of the southern land. Take care. He's talking about the expedition made by Tisman. After the voyage of the Lewin and the Nuts, it was seen that their names was written in the island up, that the southern coast of the new land trended to the east instead of working round to the west. So would have been the case if Ptolemy views had been correct. This man's problem was to discover whether it was connected with the great southern land assumed to lie to the south of South America. This man first sailed from Mauritius and then directing his course to the southeast, going much more south than Cape Lewin, the name of the place, that named after one of the people, the Dutch people. At last reached land in latitude 43.30 degrees and longitude 163.50 degrees. This he called it also his name, Vendine Land, after the name of Governor General of Batavia. And it was assumed that this joined on to the land already discovered by the Nuts. Okay, mister. So if you go here, let's look at the keyword now. He said, Pedro de Cordes was the first to sight Australia. And one of his ships got separated from him. Okay, mister, we didn't talk about ships at all. So one of the part is wrong. So all of it is going to be wrong. A Spanish expedition, wait, we heard this word on the last paragraph, was the first to discover Australia and recognize it as an island. And the Dutch, also, it was repeated on the first paragraph, settled there for a period of time, leaving Dutch names in their wake. Yes, they named the island or named the places there with Dutch names. Yes, mister, perfect. Different Dutch explorers named coast after themselves. Also, mister, this can be. But this, because it mentioned the expedition that was mentioned in the last paragraph, is better than this. Tasman, also it was in the last paragraph, with the first explorer Australia. No, he said that there were people before him. So now the answer, the best answer is going to be B. Why, mister? Because the first paragraph mentioned Dutch, that they settled there. It mentions Dutch names for the area there. And the last paragraph mentioned the expedition. So these are the keywords that match for all of it. So the answer, mister, is going to be B. I think now it's clear how we can answer a question like that. The main purpose for the whole passage to read. Number one, you're going to highlight the keywords. Number two, you're going to read the first paragraph and the last paragraph to find the answer, as I did right now. Okay, number 12. Which of the following could be said about Louis Vast de Rose? Okay, so we need something to talk about this man. And this is evidence-based question. So we read the question, we highlight the keywords. Let's find this man here. We find something that starts speaking about him. Let's go from line 50 to 52. I forgot to tell you something in the first passage. So sorry. Okay, I forgot to tell you something in the first passage. If you look here at the first passage, you're gonna find that I never repeat a question twice for the same line. Take care of that. I never repeat a question twice for the same line, except for the vocabulary. I highlight it twice, just to know, except for the vocabulary. So now we know that this man moved on a skill, that he moved question by question for a line. He never repeated a question for the same line again. He never repeated the question for the same line again, except for the vocabulary question. The same like the SAT. So let's return back here just to know, because actually some of the questions that relate to the evidence-based question, they mentioned lines. They mentioned lines, but we didn't find the answer. And even those lines, it was repeated in one of the other questions that follow it. So Let's go here, mister. Again to this question. We said that we're going to search on line 50 to 52, searching for the man that called Louis Vaz de Tourouse. 50. It's here, mister. 50 from end till position. Take care again. Whenever you have not complete sentence, you have to complete it, but you have to be sure it's not including in the previous evidence. It's not including mister. So you're going to take from here. Mister, we have a vague pronoun. So take a line before. Take a line before. So you're going to read all of this for this one. Okay, mister. So let's read from here. Curiosity was thus aroused, and in 1606, Pedro de Course, no, this is not the man, was dispatched on a voyage to the South Seas with 3 ships. He discovered the new Hebrides. Take care. If we don't move a line before, we're not going to know that he is this man. We're going to thought that he is the man that mentioned the question. He discovered the new Hebrides and believed it formed part of the southern continent, and he therefore named it Australia. D is Poro Santo, and he hastened home to obtain the physiology of this new position. No, mister, it doesn't mention the name of this man that we are searching for. So thank you. This is not the answer. Why, mister, you are unhighlighted? Just to know that I'm not going to repeat these lines again. Okay, 52 to 57, from one till island. 57. Okay, mister, it's complete. One of his ships, take care, we're still talking about this man that we said his name before, got separated from him. Okay, mister, why you don't take a line before? I'm not going to take a line before because actually this is mentioned in the previous evidence. One of his ships got separated from him, and the commander, Louis Vaz de Tourouse, I think that's the name that we are searching for. Yes, mister. Sailed farther to the southwest and thereby learned that the new Australia was not a continent but an island. So maybe, mister, this is one of the choices I'm going to choose. Why? Because it's talk about the name that we are searching for him. Thank you. Let's go to the line after that because we're not sure. We're going to take from he till him. 60. Mister, is not complete. You can complete it if it's not included in the second evidence. No, it's included. So I'm going to stop here. He proceeded further. Who is he? The same name that we're searching for. So this also can be an answer. He proceeded further till he came to New Guinea, which he coasted along the south coast and seeing land to the south of him. So it can be also an answer because it's mentioned the man. Okay, mister, let's go to 62 to 64. From 62, he said from end. Where's end here? 62. I make a mistake. I told you I must complete this one. I'm sorry. He said till him. I thought him is this one. No, him is here. Okay, this include with this guys. He thus passed through the streets since named after him. Okay, after that from 62, from end till Australia, line 64. Okay, mister. And was probably the first European to see the continent Australia. So it's talking about the same man. So this can be right, this can be right, this can be right. So B, C, and D is right. Okay, mister. How we're going to know which one is the right answer? If you're going to paraphrase it and go up. He was known to get lost. No, the one that got lost is the one before him, not this one. Okay. His exploration granted the strait. Wait, mister. I think we read the word of strait here and one of the evidence. Straits. Yes, mister. It's in the choice of C. In the choice of C. Okay, so let's go to the other one. He was the first to explore Australia. I think we read it. Was probably the first European to see the continent of Australia. No, to see the continent, not to explore. So it's not the answer. The last one, D. He didn't seek fame and wealth. He doesn't say that. So now we know that the answer is B because of the word straight, and C. So now I'm gonna unhighlight. I'm gonna just carry the highlighted from the other one. So I'm gonna from here and this one. Okay, mister. Let's go to the question of 14. As I told you, it's an easy one, direct question. What role does the first sentence, author indication, 25 to 28 in paragraph 2 play? So let's go to sentence of 25 to 28. Look, I didn't highlight it before. So from but 25 to 28 only. I'm gonna read this one. But though the Dutch were the first to explore any considerable stretch of Australian coast, they were by no means the first to sight it. So they were the first to explore, but they don't have any means to sight it. Okay? To sight it. Okay, mister. I'm with you that this may be an answer. But mister, I want to just be sure. You told us before, the students know that they are with me. They know that if we have but, or although, or however, we take a sentence before. So let's take a sentence before where till from F. If the Dutch had struck the more fertile eastern shores of the Australian continent, it might have been called with reason New Holland to the present day. But there is scarcely any long coastline of the word so inhospitable and so little promising as that of West Australia. And one can easily understand how the Dutch, though they explored it, didn't care to take possession of it. So they never take possession of it. Because of that, it started to be Australia, not New Holland. But though the Dutch were the first to explore any considerable stretch of Australian coast, they were by no means the first to sight it. Okay, mister, let's go there to find which one. It acknowledged a claim and proposed a new one. Okay, mister, it consists of two parts, mister. The first part, he said, but though the Dutch were the first to explore inconsiderable stretch of Australian coast that relate to this one. Relate to this one. They were by no means the first to cite it that relate to this one. So there's a new claim, there's an old claim. So let's find mister. Yes, it acknowledged a claim and proposed a new one. It consists of two sentences. Let's look at the other. It proposed a claim mentioned in paragraph 1. Yes, it proposed a claim mentioned in paragraph 1. But the other one, it proposed a new one. So there's only one part of the answer. It reject? No rejection in it. It support one claim with no following evidence? No. He put evidence even here. If you read more, you're going to find that there are evidence, even by mentioning dates. So the answer is A. Let's go after that. It's a vocabulary question. Line 15 is struck, most nearly mean. Let's go to line 15. Mister, you told us that the question is not going to be repeated. Except the vocabulary. Except the vocabulary. Okay, mister, so struck here. Okay, I need this. I need this actually. Okay, struck. So if the Dutch had struck the more fertile eastern shores of the Australian continent, struck here doesn't mean hit, mister. It might have been called with reason New Holland. Yeah, so if they find or if they found the most fertile eastern, why? Because they are going to stay there. Because they are going to stay there, but they didn't find it. They didn't find it. So struck means agreed on, no. Affected, no. Hit, no. It's not the primary definition. Found. Found they this kind of land. Number 16 and 17, it's evidence-based question. Again, mister, it's evidence-based question. He said, according to the passage, how do historians, we're talking about historians, know if the Dutch have been in a certain area in the past? How the historians know if the Dutch have been in a certain area in the past? Okay, mister, let's go to the evidence to find out. He said from line 64 to 69. 64 to 69. Okay, from N till 69 again. Okay, mister. In the very same year, 1606, the Dutch yacht named the Dolphin is said to have coasted along the south and west coast of New Guinea, nearly 1,000 miles, till they reach Cape Crewer or turn again. He doesn't mention the historian, mister. So it's not the answer. The other evidence from 71, from in the first 30 years, till Capes, line 77. Okay, mister. He said, in the first 30 years of the 17th century, take care. Now it's a kind of written of someone. The Dutch followed the west coast of Australia with as much industry as the Portuguese had done with the west coast of Africa, leaving. Take care that the question was asking about certain area. How do you know that they have been in a certain area? Leaving up to the present day signs of their exploration in the names of island, bays, and capes. Yes, mister. Here, how the historians know? Okay, which one mentioned the historian? Because I can't find the historian. Because he mentioned the written of the historians here. In the first 30 years of the 17th century, so we know now these the written of the historian that they write about history, and here mention that certain area, how we know that Dutch have been in a certain area in the past. Okay, mister. So this may be the answer. We're not sure. So I'm gonna keep it shaded. Let's go to after that, 93 to 97. From but till land. Mister, again, you told us whenever you find but, however, you are going to take a line before. So let's take a line before. Where's the beginning of this line? It's from Jan. This includes with this. Jan Edels left his name upon the western coast in 1619, while 3 years later, okay, take care, here he mentioned the Dutch, here he mentioned names only. While 3 years later, a ship named the Lioness or Louvain reached the most western point of the continent, to which its name is still attached. 5 years later, in 1627, the United coasted around the south coast of Australia. While in the same year, a Dutch, okay, so this also can be an answer, commander named Carpenter discovered and gave his name to the immense indentation still known as the Gulf of Carpentaria. But still more important discoveries were made in 1642 by an expedition sent out from Batavia under a Belgianese statesman to investigate the real extent of the southern land. So here he mentioned dates, so historian. He mentioned also lands or things that can relate to the Dutch. So also this can be an answer. Let's go now to line 103 to 106. 103 from Tismans till 106 of 106 till America. Okay. Tisman problem was to discover whether it was connected with the great southern land assumed to lie to the south of South America. No, mister. It doesn't mention Dutch. It doesn't mention anything related to the left something that the historian can find. So now we have the answer that they come after each other, B or C. Which one will determine? As we said, the paraphrase in 16. They find all Dutch ships at the ports. No, mister. It's not mentioned whether in B or C. Painting and pictures. Even they didn't mention painting and picture of Dovkin. Yes, Dovkin was mentioned. Are found in places the Dutch have landed. No, mister. The Dutch would name places in their native language. Actually, this mentioned in B and C, but mainly in B. When he said that names, look at the word names. They live their names of island, bays, and capes. So now, mister, I'm not sure also because we still have another one. The last one. And 16. Exploration were made in the southern land. He mentioned the southern land, but I think is not this one. Actually, this is better because he mentioned the word of name. So I'm gonna delete these now because it's not the right answer. So the right answer is gonna be B as an evidence and C here. Okay. Again, vocab. As used in line 98, seen most nearly means. Let's go to 98 and find the word seen. 98. This is before 90. Okay, seen is here. Where is seen, guys? 98. Seen is here. Okay. Seen is here. So let's take the whole sentence that include this one. If you look at right now, you find that I'm highlighting paragraphs or sentences that actually I didn't highlight it before, except this one that come for the vocab. Take care that this man or this examiner put a question for each line. Okay, Mr. Where is the end of this one? It's here. And the beginning is here. Mr. You told us that whenever you find but, take a sentence before. So all of this, just to find the meaning of seen. 5 years later, in 1627, the Knots coasted round the south coast of Australia, while in the same year, a Dutch commander named Carpenter discovered and gave his name to the immense indentation still known as the Gulf of Carpentaria. But still more important discoveries were made in 1642 by an expedition sent out from Batavia under a Belgian Tasman to investigate the real extent to the southern land. After the voyage of the Lowen and the Knots, it was seen that the southern coast, after their voyage, it was seen that the southern coast of the new land trended to the east, means directed to the east, instead of working round to the west. Okay, seen here, Mr. doesn't use your eyes. No, seen here, like when you say that, when I told you, did you understand? You said I see. So here, seen means watch, no. Examine, like watch, take care, odd one out. Predicted, no. So understood, yes, Mr. I see, I understood. So here, if you put it, you are gonna find that after the voyage of Lowen de Knots, it was seen that, take care, I take more lines here. Why I take this one? Actually, the lines start from after. The line starts from after. Okay. So after the voyage of the Lowen and Dinas, it was seen, means it was understood that the southern coast of the new land trended to the east instead of working round to the west. Okay, Mr. So the answer understood as you said. Now, question 19. It said, which of the following does the author claim to have been possible? Again, we are talking about the same question. The last time we said not. So we find something that is not. Here we said, which of the following does the author claim? Author indication. I need to find a claim to have been possible. Okay, Mr. Author indication. So let's read the choices. And after that, we're going to find, because actually it's not mentioning a line. And then the hardest one, because if it's not mention a line, you have to search the whole passage to find it. In the area that, take care, in the area that actually not highlighted. Okay. So which of the following does the author claim to have been possible? I think, Mr., we're going to find in the beginning. I think. Okay. It's in the part, he said possible. Something that can be possible. So something that can be possible when they call the land Holland. Okay, do you remember where we read it, guys? Yes, here. Here. So New Holland. This can be possible. Okay, and because it is a vague pronoun, so take a line before. So from here to the extreme north, we find the Gulf of Sint-Peteria, and to the extreme south, the island which used to be called Van Diemen's Land. It's not altogether to be wondered at the most of the middle to the middle of this century, the land we now call Australia was tolerably well known as New Holland. So this can be possible that Australia, and even it was mentioned on one of the line that if they discover the fertile land, they are gonna call it Holland, but I can't find it right now. So the one that is possible is gonna be Holland, relate to Holland. So if we turn back, mister, the West Coast would have held more Dutch names if the Dutch had cared to stay. No, it actually it holds many Dutch names. All of it Dutch names. With time, the West Coast would have become more hospitable and Dutch would have stayed. No, he said that it's inhospitable here in one of the lines. And actually we highlighted, but I don't remember where. Yes. So we highlighted already. So it's not gonna come here, the question. Okay. The Spanish couldn't have explored Australia? No, because the Spanish explored it. Australia would still be named New Holland if fertile land were found? Yes, mister. This is possible. This is possible. Okay, the last question, I think. 20. The map support which of the following ideas from the passage? Let's look at the map to find that they are talking about Australia. I think the names in yellow right now, they are indicating the Dutch names, and here we find the capital and some lands. Actually, he must put something that indicate this source, but I said old Australia, source unknown, and this is a mistake, a big mistake for the examiner. He must put for us information to know what we are talking about, but we are gonna just match it to the passage. He said, but still more important discoveries were made in 1642 by an expedition sent out from Batavia under Abel Genet's testament to investigate the real extent of the southern land. We know that this is true, but in the graph or in the map, it's not mentioned. It's not mentioned actually. It's an actual graph for Australia. So I'm not gonna take it. If one looks at the west coast of Australia, one is struck by the large number of Dutch names which are jotted down the coast. Yes, yes, mister. As I told you in the beginning, that all of it are Dutch names, especially in the west. Yes, mister. Maybe the answer. If the Dutch had struck the more fertile eastern shore of the Australian continent, it might have been, did the answer for this one? It might have been called with reason New Holland to the present day. But mister, it's not mentioned in the map. Nothing talk about that the fertile land or things. You just give names. So it's not. Jane Eddowes left his name upon the western coast in 1619. Maybe he left his name, but here the map doesn't know or doesn't indicate anything related to the date. So the right answer is gonna be B. I'm gonna stop right now, guys, because actually I got exhausted. I'm gonna send for you the rest of the other 3 passages on a YouTube channel. Any question? If you want to ask any question, I can open for you. I'm gonna open for you actually if you want to speak. Anyone want to ask anything? Okay, Abdullah is asking about, may you re-explain number 14. Number 14. Okay. Number 14, Abdullah is asking about what role does the first sentence, line 25 to 28, play? Let's go to 25 to 28. If you look here, he said, but there is a rule. This is my rule, not other rule. I said that there is a trick. If you find but, however, vague pronoun, move a sentence before Abdullah. So now from where we're going to read? From if. So we're going to read from if till here. He said, if the Dutch had struck the more fertile eastern shore, did the one that he said, of the Australian continent, it might have been called with reason New Holland to the present day. But there is scarcely any long coastline of the word so inhospitable and so little promising as that of Western Australia. And one can easily understand how the Dutch, though they explored it, didn't care to take possession of it. Why they didn't care? Because they are actually inhospitable. Then, but though the Dutch were the first to explore any considerable stretch of Australian coast, they were by no means the first to sight it. Okay, mister, take care, Abdullah. We have two sentences here. The first one relate to this one. The second one relate to this. So if we go to the answer, he said, it acknowledge a claim, yes, the claim that relate to the previous paragraph, and propose a new one, yes, the one that will relate to the following paragraph. It propose a claim mentioned in paragraph 1, yes, we know that it propose a claim that mentioned before, but it has two sentences. So it propose a new one. It rejects a claim by providing evidence. No, it doesn't reject anything. It support one claim with no following evidence. No, there is evidence here after it. And you're going to find that he mentioned a date. This is an evidence. So the answer, because it consists of two sentences, one support the previous paragraph and one will propose a new claim. So the answer is going to be A. Clear, Abdullah? Okay. Thank you. Anybody has any question? Mustafa, do you have any question? Yes, Mustafa.
No.
Yes, Mustafa, I can hear you.
Will there be a session tomorrow?
No, actually, Mustafa, as I told before, that I prefer just to relax on Friday. But I'm going to send for you the rest of these things, whether they are annotation or as a video to watch them as you come down, okay? Don't start solving anything. The last thing that we're going to solve it is today at 12 a.m. Clear?
Okay, Mr. Thanks.
Yes, I'm going to send the record of them. Okay, thank you. Inshallah, I wish that you are going to just acquire the highest mark. As I told you, the test is so easy. You can just answer the question in an easy manner because all of them are direct questions. Don't forget, whenever we have however, but, while, or a big pronoun, you have to move a line before. Goodbye.